What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning into this video. So this is just going to be all about this game, Pokemon Unite, and all of my strongest opinions for it, because I've been playing that game quite a bit, and I just kind of wanted to talk about it. So here I am, making a video. I know that the content that I create is kind of all over the place, but it's just whatever I feel like, and I kind of just feel like making this video, so here we are. I am an ex-League of Legends player. Let me tell you why that matters. Because for those of you who are not familiar with MOBAs, which stands for Multiplayer Online Battle Arena, these type of games require a very specific way of thinking, strategizing, and having an in-depth understanding of micro and macro mechanics and behaviors that are happening all at once and very quickly to create a cohesive match. I say cohesive, but it's mostly chaotic due to the lack of communication and understanding between teammates. The biggest component of a MOBA game is that you have teammates, typically 4 of them. Teammates. You have to work together to win. But you see, 80% of players in these games don't actually understand the concept of a teammate or teamwork. They're trying to play a strategy game that looks like this, as if it were just this. Imagine your neighborhood cul-de-sac hooligan who likes to play the game horse, trying to take that playstyle to a professional NBA match. And that's your average MOBA player. Here's my point. In full transparency, I only ever made it to gold rank in League of Legends because I didn't dedicate my life to it. And by the time I started having like a full grasp of the true like sciences behind the game, I was moving quite rapidly in other areas of life. I did reach Diamond in Wild Rift, but because that's the mobile version of the game, the player pool is a lot smaller, and therefore it's easier to reach that rank in Wild Rift. That being said, I still played League of Legends for over 10 years before I fully stopped playing the game. In Pokemon Unite, I have made it to Master Rank 8 seasons in a row on the Switch. And about a year or so before playing it on the Switch, I had another account on the mobile version that I got to Master Rank 3 other times on. So my opinions on this game are well earned. Master Rank is the highest rank that exists in Unite, and I'm going to tell you right now that the skill levels of Unite players just don't even compare to League. Master Unite players match that of about a Gold League player, maybe Emerald, and the best of the best Unite players, Platinum, probably. So to be honest with you, I'm not playing this game for the challenge. It's sometimes challenging, simply due to the fact that 90% of your teammates eat glue and you have to drag their 500-pound bodies over the finish line yourself. But I do it for the sensation of strategic success and the cool costumes that you get for being a high rank. Honestly, some of them are pretty sick. Now it's time for the biggest gripes that I have with this game. Besides the fact that the player pool consists of pretty much 8-year-olds and the mentally challenged, the first thing, probably one of the most annoying things. These gripes are not in any particular order, but this stupid pop-up. This is the stupidest tip I have ever seen in my entire gamer life. I guess this is just the obvious testament to the audience that this game really truly is catering to. But in case you missed it, the pop-up says, hey, if you lose a ranked game, your rank goes down. Like, no freaking dude. And what they likely want you to notice here is that you can spend real money to have this not happen. Now, I don't have the time or desire to go into the microtransactions and pay-to-win mechanics in this video, but just know that I think they're bad. But it's the reality of the online gaming world that we live in today, so I'm moving on. The point I'm making here is that this pop-up just literally describes to you, the entire summary of ranked climb, in any game. A tip to inform players that are new to MOBAs, that's one thing. But the fact that it's a pop-up that happens, every single time you lose when you're at, the beginning of another ranked tier is pouring salt into the wound of you just losing a game already. On top of the fact that okay, this is actually the worst part. There is a selection, there's an option that specifically says, don't show me this again today. How about
never?
Give me an option that says, don't show me this ever again. I am not paying you to keep my wins when it is already easy enough to make it to master rank as is. Man, I don't know the depths of what it takes to program something, but there should be at least like one threshold toggle where if you have, I don't know, made it to master rank 8 times in a row, you don't need to be told that if you lose a ranked game, your rank goes down. I have even mentioned this in the surveys that the game like puts out every quarter or every few seasons, or I don't know if it's every season. I've mentioned it in the surveys before, like the last 3 surveys, and here it is, still cursing my eyes. That's not the only eyesore of a pop-up there is to complain about either. I get that the game is free to play, and you have to encourage people to spend money, but the amount of pop-ups, notifications, and just things going on in this menu is so over the top, bruh. CME Studios, you gotta find a better, more subtle way to do things, man. There's got to be a better way. Like, there's a lot going on in the League of Legends menu, but I'll tell you one thing that they won't do is make you have to press the escape button 7 times before you can even access the menu of the game. You have to exit out of so many pop-ups before you can literally even look at your character. And then there's notifications on every single tab. And look, I get that they do it because it works. It gets clicks. I am guilty of clearing out the whole freaking menu every time I play the game. I gobble up those little 20 coin rewards and the free AOS tickets and nom 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 like a little mouse. But it's so time consuming, and it honestly like removes from the experience of just playing the game. I don't like diagnosing myself and stuff, and that's for a whole nother video, but I may slightly be OCD because I can't stand having those little red dots, and that reigns consistent for me in other areas of life. What really bugs me about it is that I think it may have something to do with my next gripe. The menu lags so much. Maybe this is a hardware issue, as I know that Nintendo is infamous for its like lack of processing power and optimization and just like online multiplayer capacity in general, but I cannot tell you how frustrating it is to move the joysticks and press buttons in a frenzy to clear out all those little red notifications, and the game is responding at like 10% of the speed that I'm moving my joysticks. And I'm so glad that the actual matches run so beautifully. Like, I immediately forget all the latency issues and frustration that I have in the menu when I get into a game, because the game is genuinely, like, so fun. It's such a fun game. But yeah, I feel like there's just so much bloat in the menu itself. That really takes away from the experience for me. And it's sad because I really think the solution for that specifically is something that the game studio will just absolutely never be willing to do. Like, either pouring tons of money into better servers or optimization or whatever it takes to make the menu run smoother, or removing half the animations and filler that make it the overstimulating, dopamine demolishing Gen Z and Gen Alpha kidnapping game that it is. It really brings the vibe and the charisma of Pokemon into an otherwise generic MOBA. I've also brought that up in the survey responses as well, regarding the pop-ups and the way that the menu lags. And yet there they are, still cursing my eyes. And finally, my last gripe is something that has to do with players. Speaking of curses, Gengar is by far the character that I hate the most, I think I've decided. As a player who prides himself in wit, reflex, competitive skill, and strategic decision-making, which many Gengar players may argue that that's exactly what the types of things you need to play Gengar, I think you're dumb and gay. Because from my point of view, all Gengar players do is sit around being invisible until they have a chance to stab an unarmed opponent in the back while they're down. To compare my experience to League again, I think they're just the dumber version of Shaco. They're just vultures. That's not skill. You can't actually fight me. Because in a battle of skill or outright damage, you lose every time. And don't come at me with, oh, that is a strategy. Oh, war isn't there. Oh, survival of the fittest. I don't want to hear it. Now look, it's on me for the character choice, I'll admit it. The characters that bother me most are the fighters whose sole characteristics involve skipping around like a grasshopper on crack. But only when the player can use more than 3 brain cells, of course. I don't know what constitutes as an actual, like, legitimate counter in this game, and I haven't looked up any, like, pro charts or statistics or anything like that, but I could only guess that those characters are direct counters to mine. And if you haven't guessed already, my main character is Gardevoir. She's what's known as a burst mage, a character that deals monstrously heavy damage in tactically timed clumps. She's far from speedy, and what little mobility she does have in the early game then gets replaced by a move that does more damage. And once you cast that spell and it misses, yeah. You get a special perk here and there that could help you escape in well-timed moments, but other than that, if your movements are not perfectly calculated every second, you're guaranteed to get punched to death by speedy crack-headed rats. That's not going to stop me from SP maxing and hitting from a distance like a dang nuclear bomb. It feels so good to be successful with a character like Gardevoir because every shot has to be aimed well, making it all the more satisfying when they land, demolishing the enemy team. Your position in combat is crucial due to your lack of speed and mobility, and opponents just don't seem to fully grasp how deadly a well-loved Gardevoir really is. Anyway. So that's pretty much my take, yeah. If this video blows up somehow, let me know in the comments if you guys want to watch me play Pokemon Unite. Or upload some of my games, or something like that. Before I started making this video, there were a couple of YouTube videos that I watched because I had realized that I had never heard commentary from anyone else about anything regarding Pokemon Unite before. I'd never heard another live human's opinion on it. But Guerrilla Warfare has a great video explaining exactly why ranked in Unite is a nightmare. If you're interested in that, check that out. And there's another video that I watched that calls Pokemon Unite Baby's First League of Legends. That's freaking hilarious. But yeah, anyways, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. See you guys later.